We are live, 8:28. We are live. Gonna let folks get in here. I'm excited about this topic. It's all about salary negotiation, a topic that I'm really passionate about. And yeah, it's gonna be one of those ones where you look back on this and like, man, coach gave me those gems. I got my notes here. I got 2 pages to really take my time. I'm gonna be up here for about an hour. Lock in with me. Lock in with me. Let me know in the comments where you from. Even when you're watching this replay, if you have questions about salary negotiation, it's something that I have studied for the last 10 years. I really wanted to master it. Now I got it. My goal is to share everything I know about this game so that you can be successful. It doesn't make no sense for me to achieve my financial goals, to achieve my career goals, and I have this information. So that's why I want to make sure I share on this platform. So let me give folks a few minutes to get in here, and we're gonna make it happen. While I'm waiting, one thing I wanted to just give you an intro. I like to do this. So my goal each Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna do an Instagram live. Yeah, I see you. Let me know where you at in the chat. Let me know where you joining me from. I posted on my Instagram. It's Coach Roundtree, ROUNTREE07 on Instagram. Yeah. Let me know where you at. Let me see where you from in the comments, in the chat. Let's go. Let's go. We're about to lock in. Let's do a few more minutes, and then we're gonna jump into it. Like I said, I literally have 2 pages of detailed research. I'm actually going to read you a counter that I sent to a company during my career, a recent counter, and how I was able to negotiate this. So we're gonna really lock in. But if it's your first time, you've never heard of my channel before, I'm Coach Roundtree. They call me Coach Roundtree because I started my career in 2007 as a sixth grade science teacher and basketball coach. From there, went back to school, got my MBA at NC State, and I transitioned to the business world. I wanted to be a business leader, and throughout that time, so I went from science teacher in '07. Then I got 5 people. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's get the numbers go up. Let's get the numbers up. Share this with some people that you know and love that are trying to advance their career. Let me know where you're from in the chat. Yeah. So I went from teacher in '07. Let's go, let's go. I see you. Play games. I see you. I see you. Let me know where you're from. If you have any questions throughout this live, please let me know in the chat. If you have a job offer in your hand, if you're expecting a job offer, let's negotiate it together. I want you to be successful. But I was a science teacher in '07. I appreciate the sub. Yeah. So I was in '07, I was a science teacher. 2013, I was a marketing specialist at Lowe's. 2018, I was a strategy manager. Let's go. Let me know where you're from in the chat. And then 2019, my life changed. I got a job offer at Amazon. That job offer was for total compensation $300,000. It changed my life. '07, I was making $28,000. 2019, I'm making $300,000 in total compensation. That's base, sign-on bonus, stock. And I'm telling you, it's real. And now I'm currently a product leader at one of the biggest companies in the world. But I'm a career coach. I'm always going to be a coach. And that's why I'm on YouTube Live tonight, sharing with you what I learned from interviewing at Amazon, Lowe's. What's going on, D? McDonald's, Meta, Google, all these different companies. I'm bringing back what I learned from those experiences. So let's dive in. All right. If you don't have your pen and pad, please take notes. Everything I'm sharing with you is not in a book. There is no book that says, here's how you negotiate a job offer. You locked in. I appreciate you. Love you, D Roundtree. But there's not a book. And that's what really got me. So here's a stat. Career Builder did a survey, and they said 73% of companies expect you to negotiate as a job candidate. I'm going to repeat that again. 73% of companies surveyed said they expect a candidate to negotiate their job offer. But wait, there's more. Only 53% of candidates negotiate their job offer. Yeah. Make sure you like the video and share it with somebody. If you haven't sub to the channel. So repeat that one more again, because some people don't realize that you have to negotiate your job. The company that you interviewing for, they expect you. 73% of those company surveys said, yeah, I expect my candidates to negotiate. Hey. They expect you to negotiate. I don't know how to do a moderator, D. Let's see. Community moderator. Nah, I ain't messing with that. Messing up my flow. No green screen. Give me a second, y'all. Community moderation. Live chat. Anyone? Give me a second, trying to see how I can do that. Nah, I'm just gonna roll with it. So, but here's what's interesting about this survey. We're talking about salary negotiation. If you haven't subbed to my channel, please do. I got over 300 videos on career tips. Tonight's subject is all about salary negotiation. 73% of companies said you better negotiate or we expect you, but only 55% of candidates negotiate their job offers. And within that, the reasons why they said they do not negotiate. 53% said they avoid negotiating because they didn't feel comfortable asking for more money. And we're going to talk about that. 48% said they thought the company would decide not to hire them, so they didn't negotiate. They thought they were going to rescind the job offer. Now, and then 38% said they didn't want to appear greedy by asking for more money. Like, you should be grateful you even got this job. Like, that's a mindset that we got to shift. And across genders, 48% of men said they would negotiate, but only 42% of women negotiate their job offers. Team, negotiating is something that these companies expect you to do. They expect you to negotiate, but we have to build that muscle. And it was something I started on my journey back in 2018 when I accepted this job offer. We moved to Texas, didn't ask for a relocation, accepted a job offer. And then a week before I started that job, after I've already accepted it, I said, let me just see if this job would really pay. So I went to glassdoor.com. Please write this down. Glassdoor.com is the best place to understand the salary for any job. Type in the job title, the company, Glassdoor will pull it up. And people that they self-report, this is what I make as a marketing manager. This is what I make as a project manager. So use Glassdoor. So this example, 2018, I accepted the job. And it paid me $90,000, which I was like, yo, I'm right almost 10K away from $100,000. And then right before I started the job, I said, let me type in strategy manager, Dallas, Texas. I accepted a job offer for $90,000 in 2018. The job paid $125,000. That's the market value. But I did no negotiating. I didn't know how to negotiate. Nobody taught me in school. And I had this sick feeling in my stomach like, bro, you mean to tell me I left $35,000 on the table because I didn't know how to negotiate? I said, I'm going to figure this out. I started reading books. I started asking other people, other executives that had negotiated their compensation. I was like, I got to figure it. And then I started trying it out, and I really mastered the skill, so I want to share it with you. All right. Job search. It's all about the money. That's something I need you to focus on. Before you even apply for a job, you should know, can they pay me what I want? And so now in 2025, they tell you the salary range in the job description. So you can see, okay, they can pay me what I want. And if it's not there, because depending on if it's a public traded company or the size, you go to Glassdoor and you say, I'm about to apply for this marketing manager job at company X. I go to Glassdoor, say the company is American Express. I go to Glassdoor, I put marketing manager, American Express, and I look at the salary range. And I say, okay, yeah, I can do it. Then you apply, because you want to make sure that you're already thinking about money before. You're getting your mindset ready before you even have to negotiate. You have to continually focus on, all right, I'm thinking about the money from jump. Now, here's what I used to do. When I started my career, I used to research the company. I used to listen to the CEO's TED Talks. I used to lock in for the interview, and I never thought about money. I get the job offer, accept the job offer and go. And that's what most people do. But when you learn how to negotiate, you think differently. You're thinking about the money from day one, and you're getting yourself ready to talk about money. And so here's when you know it's time to start negotiating. That first job interview is the phone screen. The recruiter is going to reach out to you and say, hey, Marcus, we saw you apply for this job. We really like your background. We want to interview you. As soon as you get that email confirmation, the first question you have to start working on is an answer to, you have to work on an answer to this question. What are your salary expectations? That is the first question that is your signal that I'm negotiating. It's not a job offer. It's actually that first phone screen. And they're going to say, what are your salary expectations? Here's how you answer it. The first tip when you're asked that question with a recruiter, please write this down, watch the replay. It'll be live. The replay will be on my YouTube on tomorrow evening. Is you don't answer the question. You say, what is your budget for the role? So if I'm the recruiter and I say, hey, D, I see D in the chat. What are your salary expectations? Her response to me should be, what's your budget for the role? You don't want to give a number. Please write this down. Make sure you add this to your bag. And I'm going to tell you a real story. In 2019, I was like, okay, I need to make this next move in my career. I started applying for jobs. I redo my resume. It's like, I'm locked in. And then, so I go on this job interview. It was for a strategy manager for this company in Texas. And I'm talking with the recruiter, first call, what are your salary expectations? And this is when I'm starting my negotiating muscle. I'm like, all right, I don't want to answer this question. Let me put the ball back in her court. Well, what's your budget for the role? Now, the number that I wanted was $100,000. I was making 90. I just wanted to clear $100,000. And she said, well, I'm not supposed to give you this information, but I'm really enjoying our conversation. This role is actually a high visibility role. I know the title is strategy manager, but this role is going to have visibility at the C-suite. So this role is actually paying $180,000. Okay. So I was making 90. I was willing to accept 100. Just by me asking this question, just by me asking what's your budget for the role, I found out that this job paid $180,000. So team, your first strategy when that recruiter or hiring manager, that first phone screen, when they ask you, what are your salary expectations? You say to them, what's your budget for the role? Now, very savvy recruiters are going to be like, bro, come on. I asked you the question. You're going to give me another question. They're going to say, well, we're still trying to decide on the budget. Do you have a number in mind? So your next strategy is to give them a range. And you say, yeah, what's your budget for the role? That's right, D. That's how you respond to that very common question, what are your salary expectations? But some recruiters, I'm like, yo, you need to give me a number. And when you get that pushback, that's where your research comes in. You've been to Glassdoor, you've gone to LinkedIn.com, you've gone to salary.com or PayScale, and you've researched the company and you know the range. So you give a range. If you're, go back to the American Express example, if you're looking for a marketing manager at American Express, and let's say it pays, the range is from $70,000 to $95,000. And let's say you currently make $60,000. So you know that your range, I always recommend anyone I'm coaching, make sure you feel it. The next job, you have to feel it. And for me, from my experience, you don't feel a move until it's over $10,000 from your current salary. So if I make $60,000 in my current role, I'm interviewing for a marketing manager at American Express and it pays $70,000 to $95,000. Then when they ask me what are my salary expectations, I'm going to say, well, my range is between $70,000 and $80,000. Now notice what I just did there. I make $60,000 today. I'm interviewing for the job. Based on my research, it pays $70,000 to $95,000. I'm not going to ask for $95,000. That's the high end of the band. I'm asking for $10K more to start my range. So I'm asking for $70,000 to $80,000. So that's within the range. And what you want the recruiter to say is, well, yeah, that's within the budget. That's within the budget. And so that's your last pro. And then the third strategy is to give them a number that's within the range. One of the mistakes that I've made is to ask for too much money without doing any research, and it actually turns off the recruiter. They're like, bro, we can't afford you. So you have to make sure you do your research so that you give a number that they feel comfortable that they could bring you in, and then we'll talk about how to get more. Let me know if any questions in the chat. If anyone in the chat has a job interview coming up, you're expecting a job offer, I can answer your questions in real time. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. We're 15 minutes in. All right. Let's talk about compensation structure. Now, these examples are going to be focused on folks that are looking to really climb the ladder in corporate America. So you're working for most likely a medium to large size company. It could be publicly traded, but it's also applicable for hourly. If you're hourly, you still can negotiate your hourly rate. I don't want you to think, oh, I don't make a salary, so there's not. No, you can negotiate. And I know people personally who have negotiated a higher hourly rate. But you talk about compensation, you typically have your base salary. And I'll break this down for folks that are maybe about to start their career. Some folks may be more experienced, but I want everybody to get this game. Base salary, that's what you get paid every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, that direct deposit hits your account. That's your base salary. Whether you work 40 hours, 30 hours, or 60 hours, you get the same amount. That's your base salary for that year. Then you have what's called a sign-on bonus. And we really are going to spend some time on this because it's the most slept on aspect of a job offer. Sign-on bonuses, Marcus is viewed as top talent. I don't want him to go to these other companies. I want him to sign my offer. So I'm going to give you a one-time cash payment to sign your name and go to work with our team. That's a sign-on bonus. Most of the time you hear about a sign-on bonus as an NFL player. They got this amount, millions in guaranteed money as a sign-on bonus or a roster bonus. Sign-on bonuses are not just for athletes. No cap in my rap. The last 5 job offers I've had, all of them have included a sign-on bonus. And those sign-on bonuses have been from $5K to $80K for the big dogs, and that was split over 2 years. Again, sign-on bonuses are real. And in fact, I got a stat for you. According to Harvard Law, 78% of company surveys said they have a sign-on bonus program. 78% of companies say they have a sign-on bonus program. But guess what? Most candidates don't even ask. You don't even know it exists. So sign-on bonuses is the second part. Definitely going to double click on that. Then you have your stock or restricted stock units. RSUs in the tech industry, that's typically where you'll get a set number of shares that vest over 3 to 4 years. And then the last piece is your annual bonus. So the company performs well, you'll get a certain percentage on top of your base. So it's usually a percentage of your base salary. So it could be 10, 20, 30%. At higher levels, they may have kickers that you can get even more if the company does well. So whenever you're interviewing for a job, what you want to always make sure you ask is, what is the total compensation structure? Do you offer, I don't typically lead with a sign-on bonus. That's something that I hold in my back pocket. I typically ask, is it base? Is it an annual bonus? And is it stock? The sign-on bonus is over here. That's over here. And I'll talk about strategy here. So whenever you're talking to your recruiter, say, what is the total compensation structure? You want to understand, do they offer stock? Some companies, if they're publicly traded, everybody gets stock, regardless of level. Some companies is based on the level. If like you only get stock of your director, you only get stock of your manager. But if you're an individual contributor, you don't get stock. But you have to ask your recruiter saying, hey, I just want to understand what's the total compensation package. Any questions in the chat? Anybody in the chat have any questions about salary negotiation? I got 2 pages. We're going to talk about the blueprint for 6 figures next. Salary negotiation, it's a muscle, y'all. It's a muscle you have to build. It's not something that I learned in college. I got my undergraduate degree at NCCU, Eagle Pride, and Wolfpack. I got my MBA, but I didn't learn about negotiation. I did not learn about it. I had to go and seek for the information. I'm sharing it with you, so make sure you take notes. All right, let's talk about the blueprint for 6 figures. 6 figures is something that I see a lot on social media. A lot of people talk about, well, if you ain't making 6 figures and And you like there's a lot of chatter about six figures. Well, let me share my perspective as someone who's been making six figures since 2018. It's hard to make six figures. It's hard. It took me 12 years from '07 to 2018, 2019. It is very hard to make six figures. And the blueprint that I used to achieve that was a few things. First, I was very intentional about the industry that I worked in, and I wanted to make sure they could pay me six figures. So if we flash back in my career in 2013, 2014, I had just got out of business school. And at that time, marketing was such a huge focus. Everybody was trying to do marketing, digital ads, paid search, loyalty was popping. So marketing managers had a lot of demand. And so a marketing manager could make 100,000, 125, 150. And so I was studying the market and said, okay, this job title can pay six figures. So if you want to make six figures, you have to make sure the job title that you want can actually pay you that. So go to Glassdoor and research that. Can a project manager at this specific company make six figures? Because if you go to a job interview and you're saying they ask you what are your salary expectations, you say I want $100,000, and it's a marketing specialist role and they only pay $45,000, the interview is over. So you have to make sure if you want to make six figures, can the job title you want pay you six figures? Can the industry pay you six figures? Because industries have different salary bands. Tech is the highest paying industry, but then you have education that pays less. But then what about retail? So you have to make sure that the industry can pay you six figures as well. And then also to make six figures, you have to have professional interview skills. Now, coach, what do you mean by that? Your interview skills have to be so strong, superior, that your value is so evident in the interview that they can see that you're worth $100,000. And that comes from practice, from repetition, from really locking in on your craft of the interview, because the interview is a performance. It's not something you just show up and say, yeah, I got an interview on Friday, man. I'm gonna see what they're talking about. That's not the play, y'all. When For me, when I have a job interview, if it's Friday, I'm locked in an hour a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm on Zoom recording myself answering the questions. If I have a presentation as part of this interview, like I'm doing mock interviews, I'm recording the whole presentation, because to land a six-figure job, you have to have six-figure effort in the interview process. They're not companies, especially in 2025, they cannot afford to make a bad hire. Budgets are already tight, companies are already cutting back. So if you want to make six figures, your effort to prepare for the job interview has to be six-figure effort. Again, I'll give you a real example. When I interviewed with Amazon, I got to the final rounds and they were like, "Hey, when do you want to start your final round interview?" This is back in 2019. I said, "Well, let's push it out 2 weeks." And I literally prepared 2 hours a day for that interview because I knew it was going to change my life. I prepared for two hours a day, but then also I created a 20-page document that went through all the detail. And I've done that for every interview since, because if you want to make six figures, you have to have six-figure preparation. And it's so when you perform at that level, the interviewers can see it. They're like, yo, this dude's different. Like this, you're so prepared, you're so locked in. So that's really the blueprint for six figures. Can my industry pay me six figures? Can a job title pay me six figures? Am I an expert? That's another one I want to add. You have to be world class. You have to be world class in whatever. If you're in social media content, you have to be world class. If you're project manager, your execution has to be flawless. If you're a product manager, which I am, your strategy, your vision, your product sense, your bias for action has to be, you have to be world class for someone to say, I'm going to pay you $100,000. And then the last thing I would say, you have to get competing job offers. That's how I got my first ever six-figure job offer. Story time. So I was transitioning to the loyalty space in 2018, 2019, and I talked about that first job offer that I accepted, that it was a low ball offer. I made 90,000 out. So I was like, man, my next job offer, I got to make $100,000. And so I went on a job interview, and the recruiter reached out to me. I said, hey, what's your budget for the role? And I was interviewing with multiple companies. I had learned that strategy, and we're going to talk about that next. And I got an offer from company A. Company A said $105,000. It was my first six-figure job. I was like, I did it. I'm over six figures. But company B is where I really wanted to work. It was closer to the house. It was a cooler industry. It was something I hadn't done before. I was like, man, I really love the hiring manager. I was like, man, this dude is dope. So, but company B only had a budget of $85,000. Well, I crushed the interview. Literally went all the way up and met with the CMO, met with the SVP of loyalty, and the whole time I was talking to my recruiter, I was like, hey, I'm expecting an offer from company A. Company A, she was like, what's the job title? And then once I got the offer, she was like, what's the offer? I said, it's 105. My interview performance was so stellar, and I had a competing job offer. This company B went up and matched me at 105, and I signed the offer at company B. So another important thing about six figures is you have to get competing job offers to drive up that price. That's the key. Always interview. Listen to me, team. Your goal is to create leverage. It's not just to get one job offer. It's to interview with multiple companies, to have multiple offers so that you can have them competing for your talent and the price goes up. And that's another way to clear six figures. Let me know in the comments you got any questions. I'm looking. I don't see any questions. Make sure you subscribe, Coach Roundtree. I started this channel in 2021 just to really help people, to give you the information I wish I had when I was 20, 21 years old, starting my career. Salary negotiation, what we're focusing on. Now we're going to really jump into how to negotiate a job offer. Yeah. All right. The job offer. Congratulations, you got it. Congratulations, you just got your job offer. Here's what happens. I've experienced this dozens of times throughout my career. You finish the final round, you're expecting good news, the energy in the room, like, all right, I know I'm getting this job offer. There's one thing you have to always do after a great interview is apply for more jobs. If you didn't catch anything for this live, this is truly the cheat code, and it helps you mentally stay in the game. After a great interview, you know you're going to get the job. The hiring manager says, expect some good news. Tell your wife you got some good news coming. You have to still apply for other jobs because you want to stay in the mindset of, I want multiple job offers. I'm getting ready to negotiate, versus you sit back and say, I can't wait to get this job offer. And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And you're missing the opportunity to create more leverage to get them, make the companies have a fear of missing out. That's really the key, getting the FOMO. But so that's something, a pro tip. Always apply for more jobs after a great interview. First round, second round, final round, apply for more jobs. Why? Because you can control that. You can control how many companies you apply for, because until you have the job offer in your hand, it is not real. I repeat, you can have a verbal from a recruiter, you can have good energy, but until the job offer is in your email inbox, it is not real. Do not stop your job search until the job offer is in your email inbox, bro. That's when it's real. So the recruiter calls you up. Hey, Marcus, is it a good time? It's like, yeah, how you doing? The team really loved you. We're excited about you. We want to formally offer you the job offer. Here is your direct response. Because as soon as she says, or he says, we're offering you the job offer, you have to switch to negotiation mode. You cannot say, I'm just going to accept the job offer. You cannot be relieved, because here is 5 steps. Search for the job, apply for the job, interview for the job, get the job offer, and then you negotiate and accept. You cannot skip the last step. So when they call you with this good news, you're excited. You can't stand your current job. You're ready to get up out of there. You typing up your 2 weeks notice as soon as they call you. You have to think, coach said I still got to negotiate. And so your response to her said, thank you so much for this job offer. I'm so excited. Could you please send me the job offer via email? I would love to talk it over with my family and friends before making a decision. I'm so excited about this opportunity. Thank you so much. Steer the whole thing to email. So whenever you get the call, do not do what I did early in my career. I got the call from a recruiter. She said, hey, we're excited. The team loved you. I said, I accept. I accepted the job offer. I didn't even hear the base salary. I was so ready to get out of the company that I was working at the time that I just accepted the job offer with no negotiating. No, do not do that. That's the biggest rookie mistake you can make. Move everything to email. Now, when you get to email, and I'm going to tag that video I made, my first ever viral video. It was called How to Negotiate a Job Offer. And I created a framework called EASE: excitement, analysis, salary ask, and eagerness. And I'm actually going to read you a counter that I sent to a company earlier in my career. So once you get the email with the job offer, it's attached, you know it's real. Then you have to craft your counter. You have to craft your counter email to that job offer. Now remember, 73% of companies expect you to negotiate. And so when you get the job offer, you're dealing with a lot of emotions inside of you, honestly. The first thing you're thinking, I don't want to appear greedy, like the survey said. I don't want to ask too much. What if they rescind my job offer? What if they take it away from me because I'm negotiating? Those emotions, you have to really manage them, because you know they want me to negotiate. You have not because you ask not. That's in the good book. You have to ask for more to get more. And this is what you do. You have to counter it. So you have the framework: excitement, analysis, salary ask, and then eagerness. That is the framework. And you type up this email based on your research. You have to research the job title, the company. I've also researched the state or the city where the job is located. You also have to look at the US or wherever you are in the world. What is the market overall? Like, it has to be very detailed. And it's something that one of my dogs, Canberra Ward, he really helped me learn how to negotiate and just put together a template to be able to do that. But I'm going to read a counter that I sent to a company. Like, I'm not going to list the company or anything, but just so you know the level of detail that I put into a counter. And it has to be so compelling, because think about it. They email you this job offer and they're hoping you just accept it. And it's a fact. Rarely does a company give you their highest offer on the initial job offer. It's always the lowest. So if you accept the first offer that you receive from the company, 99.9% of the time you're accepting their lowest offer. Because 73% of companies expect you to negotiate. But if you, like me, I was in the 55% that did not. I did not negotiate. So here is a counter email that I've sent to companies. I use the same template. This is one from back in the day. And make sure you like this live. Make sure you also share it with your people. The replay will also be on my channel tomorrow. But here is a real counter that I sent to a company. I'm going to read it to you. Thank you so much for this job offer for the senior product manager at company XYZ. I am beyond excited about this opportunity. After speaking with my family, I would like to move forward with final negotiations for this opportunity. I have done extensive research matching up the responsibilities of this role with the value of my skills and experience within the marketplace. I've also researched comparable companies to this one in the industry and spoken with my mentor and colleagues. From my research, I would like to request a total compensation consideration based on the following rationale. Base salary, $200,000. Sign-on bonus, $50,000. RSUs or stock, $180,000. Base salary consideration. So I have this is my analysis. So I told you I'm excited. Now here's my analysis. According to Glassdoor, the self-reported salary range for a senior product manager at your company is 153,000 to 206,000. The national salary range, and I have links to all of this research. The national salary range for product managers is 149,000 to 207K, while the average salary in your market where your base is $186,000. Given my unique combination of marketing and product management experience and the importance of this role, I would like the team to consider a base salary that's slightly above the max in my location, 189,000, but it's still within the range on the job description, which is 201K. And it's on the higher end of the salary ranges that you've reported at your company. Sign-on bonus rationale. In my current role, I'm eligible for a sign-on for an annual bonus in 2024 based on the results of the company delivered in 2023. Accepting this job offer will result in me forfeiting my current annual bonus of 50K. In 2024, I will not be eligible for a bonus payout at your company until the following year. And then the last one is RSU's consideration. Based on my research of this specific role, is very important. The CEO mentioned on the last two earnings calls, the features that I ship in this role have a direct impact on the ability of the company to achieve the vision. I would like to have a greater share of the value created for the company as a shareholder and owner of this key product. This is also in line with the RSU packages self-reported by other product managers in your role. Team, I'm going through an actual counter that I sent to a company, and everything I asked for, did I get it? No, but I got more than the initial offer. Here's how I closed this counter. With over 15 years of a professional experience, including 10 years of marketing, 5 years of product management at big brands such as Amazon, Lowe's, Nordstrom, I have a unique perspective and understanding of what it takes to build great products, and also the product management skills, communication, and stakeholder management skills as well to deliver value on day one. I also possess a rare combination of the MBA and a project management professional certification, which allows me to seamlessly move from strategy to execution. Thank you for your consideration. This is an incredible opportunity with an extremely talented team, and I'm excited to move forward. Team, that's the level of detail you need in your counter. Like when they receive your counter email, they should be like, bro, they should want to forward this to their leadership and know that you're serious about negotiation. And that's the template that I use, starting with the excitement. I'm excited about this role. And then the analysis. I've done my research. Here's what the market pays for my skills and experience. Then you make the salary ask, and then you close with the eagerness. So that's the level of detail you need to have whenever you're looking to counter. Now, I want to talk about this really tough emotional battle when you counter a job offer. So you go through and you write all the things that I just listed. Now, in the comments or either now, if you want this template, send me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is at Coach Roundtree07. D, if you're in the chat, if you could put my Instagram, Coach Roundtree07. I don't need your email. I will just send you the template so that you can take it. And actually, true story, I was at the airport a few weeks ago. One of my followers on Instagram was like, yo, bro, do you teach a business class? I was like, nah, but I post on Instagram. Bro had been following me since 2020. He just found out that he said, look, I'm expecting a job offer. I was like, bro, send me a DM. I'll send you the template. He hit me the next day. I sent him over the template, and he's countering his job offer as we speak. But here's what happens, and it happens to me every single time. Yes, Coach has been negotiating for over 10 years. Every single time, well, almost 10 years. Every single time I counter a job offer, you have to shut up. You can't say anything else. And there's this waiting period where the company is going to compensation. They're going to back to HR. They're going back to leadership. Sometimes it has to go up to another level. The VP has to sign off on it. And all that stuff is happening behind the scenes, and you're just waiting to hear back 1 day, 2 day. And what's hard about the time period after you negotiate, you counter, you don't want to reach out and feel like, oh, I do you have an update? You can't say anything. You have to counter, and then you have to shut up and wait for them to come back. And that's the hardest part about negotiating. It's not coming up with the counter. Again, I just read through that, and I might go through it one more time if we get a few more folks in here. I just read it for folks that just joined. I just read a counter that I sent to a company, word for word, bar for bar, how I countered that. So I may go through it again, or you can check out the replay. But after you send that email, the hardest thing is to wait for a response, because you're thinking, what if they say no? Are they going to take my job offer away? Even though that is a myth, a company that has identified you as the talent, the person for the job, they're not going to rescind your job offer because you negotiate. Why, coach? Because 76% of companies said they expect you to negotiate. This is a part of the game that we're not taught. No one taught me how to do this in school. I had to learn from trial and error. But the company expects you to negotiate. But that doesn't stop you from fighting the emotion of, I should be lucky I just got a job. Why? Economy is this and that. Or here I am trying to negotiate. I should just accept what they give me. Why you gotta be so greedy? And you talk to your friends or your family, and they're also saying like, man, you better go ahead and accept that offer. That's a good company. But they can pay more. And your skills are worth more. And you have to ask. So I want to encourage you, after you counter the job offer, you got to take a step back. Continue to apply for more jobs. Continue to apply for more jobs. Take your mind on something you can control. Even if you don't apply, just start to still browse and see what else is out there. Because once you get to that final round, you might be like, you know what? If I can just get this offer, continue to interview with other companies if you have other companies already in the interview loop. But that silence after countering a job offer, it's real. I experience it every single time I counter, but every single time I've countered, the company has come back and offered me more money. Yes, it hasn't been exactly. I also want to clarify. You don't get everything you ask for. You don't. The only rare instance you might get every single thing that you put in your counter is when it's undeniable they're not going to be able to find anybody else more talented than you to have the background, the fit with the company, fit with the team, and you will get exactly, and it's a very specific role, and you have an expertise. That's when you start to see you can get every single thing, but that's rare. Typically, I normally will get 80% of what I asked for. And then, so here's another tip. We got about 15 more minutes, y'all. I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, give it a thumbs up. When it's back on my channel tomorrow, rewatch it. I'm going to add chapters so you can skip ahead to this part. Is going to be all about the counter of the job offer. But so when they come back to you, typically it's going to take them, depending on the size of the company, I've seen it 48 hours to up to a week. You got to be able to not drive yourself crazy after you countered a job offer when you could have just accepted and been doing your background check and all that stuff. But you're going through the last step, you're negotiating. But when they do come back in 48 hours or a week later, say, hey, Marcus, I know you asked for XYZ. Here's where we came in at. Now, let's say you currently make, let's go back to our example, American Express. You currently make $60,000. American Express marketing manager pays $70,000 to $95,000. When they ask you what are your salary expectations, you said, I'm looking for $70,000 to $80,000. They come back with $75,000 as their offer after you counter. Now you want it, so you got $75,000. But let's say you really want to get to that $80,000. $80,000 going from $60,000 to $80,000, you feel it. That's $20K. $20K, you're gonna feel an extra $1,000 in your check. Like that's no joke. Like after taxes. And so to get that extra $5K, ask for a sign-on bonus. That's where the sign-on bonus it helps you to make up the difference in your base salary, because companies are way more willing to give you one time 5K on your first check when you join the company, and then the rest they're paying you 75. But your 1 year compensation is still $80,000. That's why the sign-on bonus is so powerful, because it makes up a difference. I've personally used this where I was negotiating with a company that first $100,000 105K, that 105 that I talked about for that company A, that also included a $3,000 sign-on bonus, and I could not believe it. That was the first time I tried it, and they said yes. I was like, what? You mean to tell me you're gonna, my first check, I'm gonna get what I normally would make every 2 weeks plus a sign-on bonus? I've been hooked ever since then, man. Sign-on bonuses are no joke. Sign-on bonuses will change your life. The reason why I'm in this house right now, this is a sign-on bonus. Sign-on bonus got us this house, bro. Like, for real. Like, that's no joke, can change your life. So after your counter, if you don't get what you everything you asked for, you're only gonna get 70-80%. Use a sign-on bonus. Then you put that on the table. I have a video on my channel, how to negotiate a sign-on bonus, that walks you through the whole thing on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, man. I got over 300 videos on this channel, man. So please subscribe and check out the content. All right, we're closing it out. We're closing it out. Hey, listen, I can be long-winded on my live, D Roundtree. Look, I can be long. I'm going. We getting this watch time up now, an hour. So make sure you check it out on the replay. Please send this to your people. Ain't nobody's telling you how to do this, man. This is next level. Other things you can negotiate: job title. You can literally make your job title when you have a great interview performance, you have multiple job offers. You can create that leverage. PTO. Let's say you got a wedding. You know your friends are getting married. They have a destination wedding, so you're going to be out 7 days, 14 days. You can negotiate an additional week or two of vacation. This one's an interesting one. Performance evaluation. Typically, you be in a job for a full year, then you get evaluated, and then you can get a bump, a 3 to 5% bump. If you say I get offered the job and I'm starting in June, and most of the time, if you start half of the year, they're not going to give you the full 3 to 5%. There's like a prorated amount. But you can negotiate saying, hey, I want to be graded for the full year. Even though I'm starting in June, when you do my performance review, I want a full performance review. Bro, you can do that and get the 3 to 5% merit increase, versus you might get the 1 to 2%. Or sometimes if you change jobs or if you join the company after a certain period of time, you don't get the full prorated amount. So you can negotiate your performance evaluation timeline. Also, let's say you join the company and you didn't get quite the salary you wanted. There's something you can do called a job recalibration. Let's say that you join and you're at level 5 and you really wanted to get level 6, but for some you went through the interview process and they leveled you at a 6. You can say in your offer, after 6 months, I want you to look to recalibrate my job based on how I'm performing. And if you're balling out of control, bro, they will reevaluate you and say, you are a 6, and give you more money. My brother did this, man. It works. He did that. This is one right here, blew my mind. Did you know you can negotiate getting your bonus for the full year, even though you joined halfway through the year? I heard an HR executive tell me this story where his predecessor was in the role. She joined in June, and bonus payouts typically the following spring, so January, February, March so it was probably February, March, April. She said, I'll accept this job offer, but I want full bonus. I'm only gonna give you 6 months of work, but I want full bonus. And the company said yes. And so when the bonus came around, she got the full bag because she negotiated her bonus payout, bro. Did you also know you can negotiate when your bonus is paid out? Typically, an annual bonus is paid once a year, but you can negotiate a quarterly bonus. I want to get paid 4 times a year. Take my bonus and divide it into 4. Bro, come on, Ben. Come on. Thanks for joining me, big dog. Yes, the job recalibration, my brother did it, man. He got more money. But you can negotiate when your bonus is paid out. Say, I want my bonus paid out quarterly. You can also negotiate maybe an expense account for any sort of like conferences you want to go to. You can also negotiate them paying for your MBA. Man, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. I got a few more just hacks off the dome that I want to talk about. For me, one of the challenges when I started negotiating, I couldn't say $100,000. I couldn't say it in the interview. They said, "What are your salary expectations?" 95,000. I couldn't say 100,000. But what changed for me is I was interviewing. I knew I wanted to go to my next company, and it was this startup in Texas. I probably wouldn't have accepted the job if they offered it me, but I said, "Man, I'm still gonna go." And I had been practicing in the mirror, $100,000 because I couldn't say. I had a lid on my earnings. I could not say $100,000 in a job interview. And she said it to me, "What are your salary expectations?" I said $100,000. And she said, "All right, we can do that." Now I didn't get that job. Literally, the founders of that company came in that same day and said, "We're changing the whole funding." Like the interview stopped, but I said it out of my mouth, $100,000, and then shortly after that, I got the $100,000. But my point is, always interview, even if you know you're not going to accept the job. Get the practice. You should always be warm. Someone could reach out to you today. Hey, listen, hey Ben, how you doing? We want to interview you for this job. You should be at an interview like that. Your skills should never be cold. Your interview skills should stay warm. You should be able to do 1 to 2 hours of prep over a week, and you can jump back in. That's why when someone reaches out to you on LinkedIn, this is a hack that has helped me tremendously. Even if I'm not interested in the job, I'm not looking, I enjoy what I'm doing at the company I'm in now. There's nothing wrong with building those connections. Even if you decide not, hey, listen, I'm not interested right now, but keep me in mind in the future. You want people still like sending you opportunities so you can say, all right, what is the market value? What does the market, what's happening in the market right now? That's something you have to always be mindful of and be willing to go on an interview to practice your skills. Another one, talk about money with your friends, man. Every job offer that I get, I talk to my dog Cam Ward, the founder and CEO of Black Men in Tech. If you really want to tap in and break into the tech industry, it's BLK MENTECH on Instagram at Black Men in Tech. We have a conference, Thrive, the first week in October in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I will be there. So we're going to meet Coach Roundtree. I will be there speaking at Thrive 2025. Man, you got to tap into Black Men in Tech. And so whenever I get a job offer, I feel you, Ben. You got to practice. You got to say it out loud, man. Man, whenever I'm interviewing for a job, my wife is like, bro, you interviewing, right? Yeah. Because I'm practicing in the shower. I'm waking up early. Like, people don't realize, like, if you watch Steph Curry, his pregame routine, all the different shots he takes, the floater, he goes all the way up, the how he takes the free throw, then he goes back, and then he takes the 3-pointer, then he does the logo three, and then he does the spin move like Kevin Durant does the spin off of one leg. They're practicing for the game. That's how you got to prepare for your job interview. Steph Curry just posted his warm up routine on YouTube. Go on YouTube and watch him how he performs before the game. Like, that's the level. If you want to make this big money, you got to have a big job interview performance, bro. They gotta walk out of there like, wow, boy, Ben, that boy Cole. If we don't sign him, we're not, bro. It's been times where I've interviewed so well that the hiring manager and his peer were fighting for me to be on their team, bro. It's been times where I've interviewed for jobs and the hiring manager said, Marcus, I have 2 job openings. You pick one, which one you want. That happened to me recently. He literally said, you can do any job here, Marcus. You tell us which one you want. And I picked the job that I wanted. That's interview performance, bro. So you have to really put in the reps, man, to like, so that it's undeniable when they see you. But going back to Cam Ward, I talk about every job offer. He's like, what's the numbers look like? You have to get comfortable talking about money with your family, your friends. Probably not your family, but I know your friends. Talk to your homies, your dogs, that it's gonna stay between y'all. And you're like, look, man, what would you do? What you think? And Cam and I, we literally will go through and just go number by number. He'll say, text it out, and I'll text him. Here's a base, sign-on bonus. Stop. He's like, oh, you should go here or see if they can do that. Like we talk about money. Like it's my money hitting my account, but he's still my dog, so he wants me to succeed. And likewise, when he get off, you got to talk about money. That's one of the things that holds us back. We don't talk about money. And so then when someone in a job interview says, what's your salary expectations? We freeze up. I froze up. I literally, the first time a recruiter asked me that, I was like, yeah, man, I'm a former science teacher, man. Whatever y'all offer me. And the dude literally laughed at me like, this is going to be easy. And I felt bad about it. I was like, man, why don't I have a good answer? I was like, nobody's really asked me that. Like the recruiter literally laughed at me because I didn't have the ability to negotiate. Last thing, listen to podcasts, read books. And here's a pro tip. There is a app and a website. It's called Team Blind, BLIND, Team Blind. And it's a tech job board. But what they do is a lot of the tech, think Meta, Google, Amazon, all the big dogs, they post their job offers. They'll say, yeah, I'm a staff engineer. Here's what I got. And you can and they ask you, hey, evaluate my job offer. There's literally a community similar to Reddit, but it's called Team Blind, and they evaluate each other's job offer. They'll say, hey, I got 3 job offers, one from Meta, one from Google, one from Amazon, and they'll list all the numbers out, and the community helps them decide. They'll do a poll, A, B, C, D. Which one should I accept? And then people that work at those companies give them feedback. Hey, bro, nah, that number's low. This is what I got when I was an E5. This is what I got when I was an L6. And so we need that energy. You have to have in your circle somebody that you can say, look, man, I just got a job offer, man. They're talking 70K. What you thinking about it? And have a conversation. Look, man, I covered everything I had on my list. Everything I had on my list, I covered. And I just want to thank everybody for pulling up on Coach. A few key takeaways, parting shots. Companies expect you to negotiate. 76% of companies expect you to negotiate, but only 55% of candidates negotiate. So that myth of them taking a job offer away, that's a myth. Focus on money from jump. From before you apply for that job, you should know your number. Go to glassdoor.com, put in the title of the job, the company, hit submit, get your range. Look at the job description, get the range so that you know. I'm doing a recap, I'm closing this thing out. Make sure you're prepared to answer the first money question. Hey, Marcus, what are your salary expectations? First, put the ball in their court. What is the budget for the role? Don't answer. They say, well, you got to answer. Here's my range based on my research, or here's my number. Always think about total compensation. Base salary, every 2 weeks is what you get paid. Or your hourly rate, you get paid once a week, twice a week. Sign-on bonus, one-time cash payment to sign that job offer. Stock or restricted stock units, if you're in the tech industry, it vests over 3 to 4 years. And then your annual bonus. Companies do well, you get paid. The blueprint for 6 figures. Everybody's talking about 6 figures. I've been blessed by the grace of God to make 6 figures since 2019. It's hard to make 6 figures. You have to make sure that the job title you're after can even pay you 6 figures. Can the industry pay you 6 figures? Do you have professional interview skills? Is your craft, are you so locked in that you actually can get 6 figures based on your interview performance? Because if you want 6-figure money, you got to have 6-figure interview skills. Lastly, get competing job offers. That's how you get companies to bid up their price. I had a company go from $85,000 to $105,000 to match a competing job offer. Negotiating your job offer when you get the call from the recruiter. Do not accept that job offer over the phone. Say, thank you so much for this job offer. Can you please send me my job offer via email? I would love to talk it over with my family and friends. Punt everything to email and then craft a well-written counter using my ease framework. Excitement. I'm excited about this opportunity. After talking over my family and friends, I'm ready to negotiate. Hey, how you doing? Plays games. Thank you for coming back. Make sure you subscribe. I'm closing out this job interview. Then you say, then you do your analysis. I researched this job title, the roles and responsibility, the industry overall. Here's my salary consideration. List out your salary ask based on your research. Close your counter by saying, again, I'm super excited. I'm eager. Eagerness is the last part of ease. Eager to join the company. Can't wait to make an impact, and restate your qualifications. After you counter that job offer, you got to shut up. You have to mentally be able to leave the negotiating table. You've countered. It's going to take them 48 hours, sometimes a week, to come back with your job offer. Team, I've done this 9 times over the last 5 years. No company has ever rescinded my job offer. So please negotiate your job offer. They are not going to take your job offer away because you decide to negotiate. You can negotiate other things like job title, get a calibration on your job level, performance review timing, your annual bonus, how it's paid out. There's more things. PTO, you can get another week of PTO. Lastly, talk about money with your family, your friends, read books, listen to podcasts, go to Team Blind. It's a great community to look at other job offers. You should have a pulse on, am I being paid what I'm worth? You should have a pulse on that. Team, I started this channel in 2021 to help people I'll never meet, will never probably be in the same room, but you have access to this information. It's off of my heart. It's now out there into the universe. I do want to pray for you as a job candidate if you have a job interview. I am a man of faith. I would not be where I am without the Lord. Father God, thank you for this day, for life, health, and strength. Thank you for giving me these wonderful experiences, Lord, for the wisdom you've given me to share with the people, Father God. I just ask you to please give them the courage. Give them the courage to ask for more. You said, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall open. We just believe new doors are opening for everybody watching this live that are going to watch the replay today, tomorrow, next year, 5 years from now. They'll know that you are with them, Lord. Give them the strength, Lord, to negotiate strong, to build that muscle so that they can increase their earning power, Lord, so they can give more. They can be a blessing, so they can take care of their family, Lord. And we just thank you, Lord, for giving them good success in their interview process. We thank you, Lord, for good success in everything that they do. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. 60 minutes. 62. Make sure you like this video, man. When it goes on my channel tomorrow, make sure you watch the replay. I'll chop it up so you can skip to the sections that are interesting to you. And man, share this channel. With my goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers, man, get monetized so that this all the effort that can be something that can flow back into my household. So I would appreciate if you share it with 3 to 5 people that you know trying to get this paper, that are wanting to go to the next level. And I'll see you back Sunday. Sunday is all about interview prep. If you know someone who has a job interview next week, then they need to tap in with me on Sunday because I'm gonna help you prepare for your upcoming job interviews. And then I'll be back on next Wednesday night with another topic. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's at Coach Roundtree, ROUNTREE07. That's my biggest following. I'm fortunate to have about 14,000 followers on Instagram. And I post a lot of content there, but the home base is YouTube. That's why, yeah, I appreciate you, Ben, for tapping in, man. If it added value, send it to your people, man. If you need me, I'm one text away, man. So God bless y'all. Go do your thing. I'll see you next time.